Welcome to the regular council meeting of May 26, 2025. Thank you, gallery members, for attending and media. I call the meeting to order at 1 p.m. At this time, I've had a request for an added item to the agenda. The added item would be with regards to FCM resolutions, and I would like to ask Councillor Ryan her intention for the resolution and added item.
Thank you very much, Mayor Dole. Very simply, there are resolutions that will be presented at FCM. We have 3 councillors who are going. I'm sorry that it's late on the agenda, but it would be good to have opinions from other councillors who will not be attending to provide us that by maybe Friday, because I believe the resolutions will be done on Saturday. So there are a couple of items, and if it gets added to the agenda, I would just like to speak to it just briefly. There's only 13 pages, there's only 4 resolutions, so it's not a big read or a big ask.
Okay, so your intention is just to go review 2 to 4 resolutions today, or just wait until we can get back to you?
No, I just want to present it saying that pretty much what I've just said, that there are 4 resolutions. Please read through them and get back to myself or Councillor Daly or Councillor Cummings or all 3 if you want to, just to let us know how you want us to vote, if it's going to be different than how we were going to vote, so we can get a good idea of how council feels about it. But I'm not asking for it to be done today, because obviously it's just coming into your hands today.
Yes, thank you very much, Councillor Ryan. So the item would be placed on the agenda under reports from council boards, committees, and commissions, item 4B, FCM resolutions. Would you like to place that on the floor then for a resolution? A motion, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Mayor Dahl. I move that the regular council meeting agenda for Monday, May 26, be adopted as amended.
Sorry, that's my error. I should have stated. I'm asking council to accept the added item.
Sorry,
Thank you.
I would ask then for us to, for council to accept the added item FCM resolutions as presented.
Thank you. And we will place that under 4B, FCM resolutions after the vote, if council chooses. Those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We will place that as an added item then on the agenda. And following that now, I would ask for an adoption of the agenda as amended. Who would like to make that? Oh, you're going to make it? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I've made that motion, so I'll let it stand, please.
Yes, we'll let that stand. I will now call for the vote. Those in favor? As amended. Thank you. Moving down to page 2 of your agenda, adoption of the previous minutes, regular council meetings, May 12th. Does council have any questions, deletions, additions? Otherwise, we'll go with consent. The minutes are approved by consensus. Thank you. We will move down to page 8 of the agenda at this time, business. And that's the Mountain View Power Community Grants spring applications, and I will introduce you to our director, Guy Lapointe, who will be taking the start and lead on that.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl and council. Today, administration is presenting the Mountain View Power Grant Committee's spring intake recommendations for council's review and approval. As you can see in the detail, there was just over $123,000 requested from 10 applicants. 4 of those were deemed ineligible, leaving the remaining 6 that the committee discussed. All 6 of those groups were recommended for financial support in the amounts included in the request for decision. Ultimately, $43,100 is the total funding support suggested by the MVP Grant Committee for this intake. With that, I'm open to any questions council may have.
Well, it was a good read, that's for sure. I open the floor to council at this point. If you have any questions, and we'll start with Councillor Ryan.
Thank you very much, Mayor Dahl, and through you to Director Lapointe. I was wondering if you could tell us on the men's shed, might not be really part of this equation here, but do we know whether or not the community garden boxes are part of what they're going to build too? And that's what they would need tools for, because I see that there's other projects, but I know it was part of the concept for the community garden boxes to go alongside the building. But I wasn't sure if that was part of actually the grant money that we're after, and it'll be done through the grant dollars, or whether we're looking at the kind folks of the Vinshed to actually build them later on.
As I understand it, the scope of the application did not include the boxes. I think that will be covered by the larger grant that we're working with them on at this point. So, yeah, at this point, I don't believe that worked into it. They're just looking at tools for alternate projects.
Thank you. That's a good question. And for council's knowledge, I will be calling separate votes for each of these, as council may choose to approve or not approve one or the other. So we'll, just so you know. Okay, so go ahead, Councillor Daly.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl, and through you to Director Lapointe. Very impressive. The applications were all spot on as far as I'm concerned. My question is, what was the amount allotted to be given out at this particular time? Did we expend it all with these applications, or is there still money available to be handed out of the next draw?
There was $50,000 allocated for the budget at this point, $43,100, so there is $6,900 left over at this point. The discussion from the committee side of things was they felt like they had supported the grants admirably, had robust discussion about things, and really didn't want to force dollars into any of the applications needlessly. So their hope was to roll that $6,900 to be added to the fall intake amount.
Excellent. Thank you very much, and good work on the committee's part as well.
Thank you, Councillor Blatz, or Deputy Mayor Blatz, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl, and through you to Director Lapointe. Going along a little further with that, though, that $6,900 that's left that I know could go to the fall input, would it, but if somebody came now forward with an emergent type request, would those funds, could they be used for that?
I mean, in theory, they could be. I would say that the committee right now at this point only meets twice a year. So it would require a special meeting on their behalf. So certainly, I think it could receive consideration, but the preference would be to leave it for the second intake.
Thank you for that, because I was questioned on it just recently, and that's why I thought I better pose that question. I appreciate your answer.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'll go to Councillor Wilson, back to Councillor Ryan.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just a quick question through you to the director. We had 4 ineligible applications, 123,000 total. Just looking for a quick comment from the director as to, are you satisfied that we've got pretty good reach into the community, good awareness, agencies, associations, NPOs, they're all well aware of Mountain View Power and its grant process? Thanks.
Excellent question. I would say that the awareness around the program is growing. Certainly, that can be improved. Council should be made aware that we're actually looking to rebrand and have a new logo that's put out into the community as well. And the intention would be to start talking more about the dollars being reinvested into the community rather than focusing on the rate that you can have achieved through the utility at this point. So again, I think it's known and perhaps on the verge of being well known, but we certainly want people to understand the benefit to their organizations.
Councillor Ryan?
Thank you, Mayor Dolan. I just wanted to build on Deputy Mayor's Blatz's comment and question to Director Lapointe. Just to go a little bit further along that line, there was one on the list that I thought kind of had merit, and that was the old Big Slow Pitch League request, and that was for $4,300. Do we know why that wasn't eligible, and yet the batting cages were, so, because they still had that, as Councillor Daly pointed out, still had some money left in in the budget, so I'm just wondering whether or not there's room to add that in there or not, and, or why it wasn't included.
Again, having sat in on those sessions, I think that the focus of the committee really was on seeing added community benefit, and that some of these requests were very much focused on the user groups that they'd be servicing. So a good example of an application that received support, it wasn't even the full amount as well, was pickleball. So pickleball, again, it was the club that was applying, yet the nets would stay in place for the broader community to use after the fact. And so there was, even though a lot of these applications fit the criteria, they really wanted to see some of these things. You know, are the groups coming forward with some dollars of their own? Are they prepared to do some additional fundraising? You know, how realistic is it for them to get this project through to the finish in the short term? Those are all the discussion items.
Well, very good. You have an opportunity once again as we go through these for motion. So I'd ask for the first motion, please, for Community Learning Campus. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I move that the council accepts the $8,000 application by the Community Learning Campus for the DIS Golf Course Hartman Green, which is the disc, should be disc golf, I'm assuming. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Motion is on the floor. I will call for the vote. Those in favor? That is carried unanimously. A motion, please, for Imagine Gymnastics Club. Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to move that Imagine Gymnastics Club be awarded the $10,000 grant.
Thank you for gymnastics equipment upgrades. I will call for the vote. Those in favor? It looks like we've got unanimous on that item for 10,000. That's carried. Councillor Daly?
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I'd like to move that council approves the Mount View Community Grant Committee recommendations for $6,350 to the Men's Shed of Olds for tools.
Thank you, Councillor Daly. I will call for the vote. Those in favor? That is carried unanimously. Moving down to Olds and Area, pregnancy care. Councillor Wilson?
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I make the motion that council approves the Mountain View County Grant Committee recommendation for $9,250 to the Olds and Area Pregnancy Center Family Growth and Learning Space.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. I will call for the vote. Those in favor? That's carried unanimously. So we will now, we've got 2 votes less. We'll go to Councillor Cummings.
I apologize, Mayor. I'm not, which one am I doing? The minor softball? So I move that council authorizes the Olds Minor Softball Community Grant for $4,000.
Thank you, Councillor Cummings. I will call for the vote. Those in favor? That is carried unanimously. And now we have Councillor Ryan.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I move the council approves the Mountain View County, Mountain View Community Grant Committee's recommendation of $5,500 for the Olds Pickleball Outdoor Enhancement Project.
Very good. I will now call for the vote. Those in favor? That is carried unanimously. And thank you very much, Council. We will now move forward on the agenda. Page 59 of your agenda, please, item 3C, Olds Regional Exhibition Sponsorship Request, and we'll go back to Director Lapointe. 3B? Yes, I'm sorry. It says page 59, and I am looking at Chief Administrative Officer Performance Evaluation. Thank you very much, my council members. I would ask for a motion, please. Thank you, Councillor Daly.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I move it be, I move be it resolved that council conducted the annual evaluation of the Town of Olds Chief Administrative Officer in May of 2025 in accordance with Section 205.1 of the Municipal Act, Government Act, and further that Council approve the 2025-2026 performance evaluation for Mr. Brent Williams, CAO.
Thank you very much for the resolution on the final CAO performance evaluation. I will now call for the vote. Those in favor? Oops. That is carried. Thank you. I'll just turn that over. All right. Moving down now to the page 60, Olds Regional Exhibition. And I would ask for a motion, please. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I move that, sorry. Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I move that council approve a one-time sponsorship in the amount of $1,000 for the 2025 Summer Synergy event being held on from July 7th to 12th, 2025 in Olds.
Thank you. I do understand, along with my council colleagues, that there has been some discussion with our CAO on this resolution as well. So if you have any questions, you're certainly welcome to ask at this point. No? Okay, I will then call for the vote. Those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Now we're going to move along to page 68 for the Committee of the Whole meeting schedule change. I understand the background in the request from administration in this regard, as there's not many items, and there's a request for cancellation. I will ask for a motion. Councillor Cummings.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the Committee of the Whole meeting scheduled for Monday, June the 2nd, 2025 be cancelled.
Thank you. Does council have any comments? I will call for the motion. Those in favor? That is carried. Reports from council, boards, committees, and commissions. We'll start with page 69, and this is the council reports. We have in your agenda from myself as mayor, we have Councillor Blatz, Councillor Ryan, Councillor Wilson, and Councillor Daly. And we will now move over to verbal, unless there's questions on the written ones in the agenda. We'll start with Councillor Cummings, and then, sorry?
I just have a
Okay, well, we can certainly take your comment now, Councillor Daly.
Okay, in regards to my report, I did put in there that I anticipated attending the Kiwanis pancake breakfast, but I did not. So I'd just like that to be stricken from my report.
Thank you. We can certainly move back to the other councillors too, because I noticed I missed quite a few items on mine too that others had attended. Councillor Cummings?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I did actually write something out and send it to Marcy that hopefully will be in the minutes for the first time in a while, I guess. I did participate in a number of constructive community engagement events. The town hosted the open house for our housing strategy, which was, I believe, well attended. I also attended a Brood working group that was held in Innisfil, where we continue to do the work of our EDO team to developing the best possible plan for our economic future. Our community first responders and others put together an excellent and realistic response to a car accident as part of the party program. A few of us were there. That was pretty interesting to watch. We met with our colleagues at the college to discuss how we can build a better partnership moving forward, which is always important. And of course, I did enjoy some pancakes this weekend at the Kiwanis Pancake Breakfast, where we celebrated, I believe it was their 70th anniversary year this year, and the opening of the warming shed in the viewing area of the outdoor rink. An important follow-up, I did send an email all to council on RDR Mugs meeting with the Assistant Deputy Minister for Environment in discussions with the revision of the Water Act that's going on right now. And I did send out to all of council 2 links in that email. One link was to the data provided by the ADM, and the other one link was to an online survey. Many of our citizens probably aren't aware that every time the government, just as we do, we review policies on a regular basis, they review acts on a regular basis, and there's an entire website set up for that with lots of these online surveys for citizens to fill out. So I did send that link to everybody. Hopefully those links will be in the minutes. I did send those to our legislative coordinator, thank you, to include those links in the minutes, because I do encourage every citizen to take the time to fill out those links. It's our only source of water, and we know what happens when government puts politics in front of our safety of water. All right, thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Cummings. I'll move over to Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I attended all the regular council meeting and gatherings, along with CAO evaluation on May 1st, 6th, and 20th. Attended the open house for the housing strategy. Yeah, I believe it was well attended for our open houses as they go. So that was great. But still going to talk about it. My key takeaway there is that kids prefer ketchup to mustard by about 4-1. So that was interesting. May 15th, I attended the Parkland Regional Board, or PRLs. The auditors presented their audit that there's nothing outstanding. It went well. Also, I guess she was a director, finance director. Ms. Williams has retired after 27 years with Parkland, so it was sort of a little celebration her last day too. So she had an almost perfect audit, so that was kudos to her. Last year was absolutely perfect, no comments at all. They have published their return on investment for Parkland. They do that once a year for all the municipalities. It's on their website, but for Olds, for every dollar invested, that's a $26.89 return on investment. They did bring forward recommendations for the budget. Next board meeting will be in September, so they usually get a jump on the 2026 budget. They suggested a budget without any cost of living increase for staff. And the board sent that back and said, no, that's not right. They were trying to keep the budget within that $9 to $10 range for the per capita request. So it goes back. If there's a cost of living increase for staff, it may push it to $11, that close to that. But the board was not willing to accept no increase for staff, so that was interesting. Other than that, the other library board meeting was Wednesday, this last week, May 21st. And instead of a board meeting, we hosted a training session. It was a budget and financial training session, so staff from Parkland Regional Library Service were there, and library members from Sylvan Lake, Innisfail, Cremona, Carstairs, Sundre, not sure if Didsbury was there, but it was a couple hours of good discussion around how libraries should prepare budgets and how to maintain their financial, some of the pros and cons of working under the Libraries Act. So that's it, all I have.
Councillor Wilson?
Thank you, Mayor Dell. May I add just a brief supplemental to my written report?
Absolutely.
Because I think it bears mentioning, and it relates to the May 8th McHappy Day event. And the three McDonald's in the area, Sundre, Innisfail, and Olds, raised just a little over $15,400, which I think was about $4,000 more than they raised the year before. And Olds was about half that amount, and $3,000 higher. Sorry if I'm repeating anything that maybe was in a report, but yeah, so great news for the staff here at the McDonald's, and great news for the folks in our community. So that was all I had. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I'd like to add to my report as well that on May 9th, I attended the Staff Sergeant Warren Wright's retirement celebration in Red Deer. It was well attended with amazing stories from people that worked with him, knew him, had some good laughter and a couple cries, and so he is now working as a peace officer for the town of Olds. And I just wanted to add to the attendance, May 20th Lions ribbon cutting over, that there was over 60 club members that were being honored that had passed away. It was quite an honor to be there and be able to attend with my fellow colleague council members, the celebration. So I'd ask for a motion then, if that's all there is. Councillor Ryan?
Thank you, Mayor Dolan, and I just actually have a question.
Okay.
If it's possible.
Thank you.
And I don't know, I don't want to put Councillor Daly on the spot, but there was 3 items in your report, Councillor Daly, that I'd like to actually get a little bit more information on rather than just say participated, because I don't even know what the task force retreat was, who it was for. What I'd like to see maybe is if you could give us a highlight, even as a paragraph, maybe if you could just write it out and perhaps send it to Marcy, just like Councillor Cummings has done, and she can circulate it. But that and the Cape, we haven't heard anything from Cape lately, and so I'd like to see something reported on Cape. If you went to AGM, I have no idea what's going on there. And just a little tidbit maybe about how things are going with the healthcare professional group, your committee, your healthcare group.
Okay, so I'll respond to the task force retreats that we had. So the first one was on the workforce development that is going on through Sandra's, Director Blythe's area of economic development. And so I participated in that. The workforce development was a task force that we had all on its own because it was such a large topic. The second retreat was also through economic development, and it was actually now breaking it down into the 6 different pillars that we're going to, we did bring in content experts on, split us up into 6 separate groups, and we worked on projects. What projects do we want to focus on? What projects are too grandiose, so forth. So you will be getting a report from Sandra on that, on all the reports and findings that we have figured out on that. As far as the Cape, I think I think as far as the Cape, you're going to see some changes coming up here in the next little while. Of course, Tracy Gardner, the director, our CEO, has actually tendered her resignation, and that was her last day at the AGM, and so they have a new CEO coming into place now. And so as far as at the AGM, there wasn't a lot to report. They did have Red Deer Polytechnic do a presentation, and then they had Councillor Cindy from Innisfail do a presentation on human resources and workforce development as well. So there wasn't really a lot to report on the AGM. Most of it was the guest speakers that were present there. So stay tuned with Cape.
Stay tuned with Cape, and ironically enough, Cape is in our boardroom as we speak, the whole new membership. They were gifted the use of the room, so they were very gracious to come out and thank me and thank council. Yes.
And their new executive director is actually in the building as well. So Paul Salvatore is his name.
Thank you. I couldn't remember his name, but he sat right beside me at the table. I couldn't remember his name.
He's the former executive or economic development officer in Lacombe prior to me.
I really did enjoy the presentation from the Urban Indigenous Voices Society. It's an Indigenous governance, and it was nice to hear a different side of governance from a lot of other groups that we attend. But it was a very good. I like the information sharing. They also had the Red Deer Airport there come with an update, and holy smoke, stay tuned there as well. So hopefully we have something more to bring in the near future. Any other questions? A motion, please, to accept the reports. Okay, Deputy Mayor Blatz.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I move that we accept the reports on, sorry, I'm not on that right page. Don't want to miss anything. Thank you. I move that we accept the reports from council, boards, committees, and commissions ending May 26, 2025, and be received for information.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I will now call for the vote. Those in favor? That is carried. We will now move down to our added item 4B, FCM resolutions as an added item. And I see it's on our screen, and I'll turn it over to Councillor Ryan.
Thank you very much, Mayor Dahl. I appreciate getting it on the agenda since it's coming up really quick. There's actually only, it looks like there's a lot of pages, but there's not. There's only actually 13 pages that have of any significance for us to read. There's only 4 resolutions. 2 of the resolutions, though, I just wanted to point out for people to read about, if you want to read them all, good, but the most important ones are improving access to healthcare for rural Canada. They're talking about small communities, rural communities, so that's where we're sitting. And also the Future of Canada Post are also talking about rural Canada and certainly small communities. So those are the 2 ones I just wanted to highlight. Feel free to peruse them when you get a chance. Like I said, it's only 13 pages once you take out the French, so. And all the information that tells you what the procedures are. So by the time you get it narrowed down, it's only 13 pages.
Yes, thank you very much. That is true.
And thank you. If anybody has anything that they want to provide us, any information or any negative comments or positive comments, whatever you'd like to do, just let us know by Friday, because we'll be doing these on resolutions, I believe, on Saturday. Yeah.
So for our viewers, let us know would be Councillor Ryan, Councillor Cummings, and Councillor Daly will be attending FCM this year. So that's who you would contact. Deputy Mayor has a question.
Just a comment, please. Thank you, Mayor Dahl. And through you to either our legislative coordinator or perhaps Councillor Ryan, if we could please get the link for these resolutions so that we could read them. It may have been sent to me in some of the information through FCM, but if we could just have this link shared with us, then we would be able to provide comments back. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a link that I copied and pasted, and I believe, let's have the clerk, coordinator, McKinnon, did it work for you when I sent that? Okay, so, no, but this is also a different, I'm not sure if it's the same way you went for this or not. Oh, okay. Because I do have an email that I can send out from FCM that you can just hit the button and take a look, so.
Thank you, Mayor, Deputy Mayor. Are there any further questions before I adjourn the meeting? Seeing none, I thank everybody, and I thank our gallery members and our media for being here today, and I adjourn the meeting today at 1:33 p.m.